She wants the baby to call her mom. Plus updates. My mother-in-law, 57 female, told me she wants my 25 female unborn child to call her mom. Her reasoning? I am more important to my son than you. There's only one thing you can give him that I can't. She also insists that she can have a baby too if she wanted, so I'm not special for being pregnant. This makes no sense to me, but she's batshit crazy to me at this point. She genuinely believes that I stole her son from her and don't deserve to have my own child refer to me as mom. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. I've read some crazy stories on this sub, but yours is just like WTF. Your mother-in-law wants to have her child's baby. I don't know if it's this sub or the Just No Mother-in-Law sub, but you can find a list of reading materials and resources that can help you in your hubs, especially with fear, obligation, and guilt boundaries, standing up for yourselves in a healthy way, etc. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this disgusting person. Hugs if you want them. Unfortunately, her experience isn't exactly rare. I have read countless stories in the same vein where the mother-in-law very much seems to want to sleep with her own son. It's like these mother-in-laws are jealous that another woman can provide a son with something they can't, so they resent the wife/girlfriend for that. Treat them like they are the other woman. OP, you need to tell your husband exactly what his mom said and how she is acting. Whether it's his or absurd behavior for what it is or not determines what your next moves to be. The biggest, regardless of his agreement, is putting a massive amount of space between you and mother-in-law, at least until she gets psychiatric help. Let her explain to a medical professional how it's okay in her mind to want to be the mother to her own son's baby. What does your significant other think about his mother saying these things? It is absolutely crazy. He's afraid to upset her by standing up for me. It's disappointing, and I stay away and let comments slide instead of ruining my mental health trying to stand up for myself. This is not healthy for you or your baby. I tell him that the stress his mother is causing and his lack of spine is putting unnecessary stress on your baby. Either he stands up for you and puts in firm boundaries, or he can go stay with his mommy. Now for the first update. I posted previously about my mother-in-law competing with me now that I'm pregnant and suggesting she could have a baby herself. She said the only thing I can offer my husband that she can't is children. We've been married for almost 4 years now. I would have responded to your comments and advice, but my life fell apart. Trigger warning ahead. She has officially won. I was at 14 weeks and had a very bad fall, where I landed on my own belly. She put her stuff all over our living room floor to store it here for some reason, and I tripped on the mess. I began miscarrying 20 minutes later. She was here when it happened and knew it was happening. I was texting, calling, crying, yelling from the bathroom to get his attention. He came in, saw that I had blood overflowing from my shorts, and said he urgently needed to help his mom. He left. I went through the brunt of miscarriage myself, and I held the remains in my hands. I begged him over text to come to the bathroom and help me, to hold me, to go through this with me. He finally came in half-hour later and saw the blood everywhere. I'm anemic and couldn't stand anymore. He made a comment about how it was going to be a lot to clean up, so I tossed off my clothes, climbed into the shower, and bled there. I asked him to buy me large pads and said I'd cleaned a mess. He came back half an hour later with the pads and kept explaining that his mom needed him. They knew I was miscarrying, but she needed help moving things, and it was urgent. She was outside when I cleaned up the bathroom and went to the kitchen for food. I was weak and struggling. She didn't make eye contact with me or talk to me at all, probably because she knew she had won. She took my husband away from me during the most traumatic point of my life, and he went willingly. I feel lost. He spent the night at his mom's house and left me alone. He isn't back yet. I've been alone with his kids from a different relationship, who he only gets to see 1 3-day weekend a month. He hasn't texted me and I haven't reached out either. I don't know why it wasn't important to him, why the miscarriage wasn't urgent, why he didn't want to hold me, why he won't come home. I'm so lost and alone and my heart is broken. She's probably celebrating while I'm mourning. Call the kid's mother to come get them. Pack your bags and leave. Never go back. Only contact should be divorce. This man is not your husband. You're an affair partner. He's married to his mother. Run and never look back. That's exactly. If he wants to be with mommy so bad that he left you while you're having a medical emergency, divorce. He is still tied to mommy's apron strings. If he wants so badly to be with mommy, let him go. He's not worth your time. And I can't believe he left his kids for you to care of when you're going through this. I'm sorry to jump straight to divorce, but mommy obviously means more than you or his kids. OP, first and foremost, you need medical attention. A miscarriage at 14 weeks due to a bad fall needs medical attention, especially considering you're anemic. Deal with getting medical attention first. Emergency services will watch his children while either he or the mom comes to pick them up. You shouldn't be looking after children when you are in need of medical attention. When you've gotten medical attention, pack your things and leave. I hate to say it like this, but leaving him miscarry and bleeding profusely with his children is abuse. His precious mummy's too important to him for him to care for you. You'll be much, much better off without him and his baggage mummy dearest. Lastly, see if you can get in contact with a grief counselor. There are also lots of groups on here that can help you through the grieving process. It's not going to be easy. Look after yourself before anyone else and take all the time you need. Best of luck, OP. I am sending you a lot of internet stranger hugs. Thank you for suggesting a grief counselor. I didn't even consider it. I did end up in the ER after her fainting. The kids were dropped off to their mom by my friend. I'm still in the hospital and still haven't heard from him. I am so sorry for your loss. Do you have somewhere safe you can go? His kids are here until Monday morning, so I'm taking care of them. My family lives 1,000 miles away. Second update. I've posted a few times. You can see my post history. I'm eternally grateful for all of your advice and emotional support during the hardest moment of my life. You've kept me strong enough to write you this update. I ended up discharged from the hospital after 24 hours, and he still wasn't home. I confided in my family and they booked me a ticket home. They were horrified that this happened, and a little hurt that I didn't reach out when it was happening for help. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. I packed my things and flew to them. He still hasn't responded to my texts, voicemails, or calls, so I left him a handwritten note. A few days after being with my family, I get a long text from him. He said that he had to stay with his mother for the entire week after I had miscarried in our home, basically because of her. Because, and get this folks, she felt triggered by my miscarriage and needed his emotional support. He argued that she needed him as she and his father are divorced. During this time, he didn't want to bring me up to further cause her distress, so he went no contact with me for a week. He said he thought I was strong enough to wait for him. He thinks I've overreacted by flying home, and he wants me to come home. I took your advice, folks. So I prepared for his stupid excuse and didn't let him manipulate me. I called and told him that when his mother had miscarried after he was born, she had her own husband to comfort her, while my husband left me alone and ignored me for a whole week. I told him everything you guys mentioned. It was medical neglect during a crisis, child abandonment of his own kids, my stepkids who were supposed to be under his care, and abandonment. I could have died and was very weak when I had checked into the hospital. I was even weak when I left. I told him I needed space to heal. I was finally getting emotional support from my family, and I'm in a safe place. I'm not ready to see him. He said that he is her only son. He had to help her. I reminded him that he was my only husband and I needed him. The miscarriage was happening to me, not her. He asked me if we were still good. Absolutely not. I was blunt and told him I didn't see our relationship repairing after what he did. His actions will haunt me for years. I cry myself to sleep every night. I miss my baby and my marriage. Both of them died the same day. I haven't filed yet, but I plan on filing for divorce when I'm ready for it. He's upset. He cried and told me I was being overly emotional because of the loss, that I wasn't in my right mind, and said he'd fly out to see me and bring me home. I put my parents on the phone and let them chew him out. I don't know what they said, but he hasn't called since. He's texted a few times, but I haven't responded. I know it isn't a happy update, but I wanted everyone to know that I'm safe now. Mother-in-law can keep her son. She hasn't contacted me at all since this all happened, and it's been a blessing. I've heard from mutual friends that she's blasting me to everyone over social media, but I'm going to stay out of it for my own peace of mind. Thank you so much for caring about me and taking the time to reply and send messages with support. I've just read your previous posts, and although it is not my place to say, I'm going to say this anyway. I am so damn proud of you, and I hope that you are proud of yourself. You have just done the hardest thing you'll ever have to do and given yourself a bright, happy future full of love and support, which is exactly what you deserve. Keep doing what you're doing. Put yourself first. Let your family care for you. Ignore your soon-to-be ex-husband, who quite frankly is a sad excuse for a human who will never be happy. And get the help you need to build yourself up. You are brave, you are strong, you are loved, and you will have an incredible life because of the courage you have shown. I wish you the best of luck. This poster is spot on. I've never read something that made my blood boil so quick. I will report him and his mother for incest, and I'd make sure his ex-wife knew all about him abandoning you with his children while you weren't fit to look after yourself. Never mind the kids. I'm so glad you had the strength to call your family and go to them. They will protect you at any cost, just like that POS was supposed to do. The irony, the place with that man wasn't your home. Your home now. Home is where the people who love and care about you are, and that clearly isn't there. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Please protect yourself further. Document everything. Make sure you haven't got tracking etc. on your devices. Make sure you've changed all your passwords for banking and anything medical too. The last thing you want is him going rogue and trying to get information. If it does turn up, don't stand and argue with him or give him a warning. Just call the police. I don't like the fact he told you he is going to fly there to bring you home. Like you are property or a naughty child gone rogue and doesn't see what he did is wrong. I'm suspicious of him and his mother and what they could do next. I'm so sorry you're having to live through this. Edit, please arrange for anything you need from your previous house to be removed ASAP. I've been thinking of you since I read of your miscarriage. I'm sorry for your loss. Well done for being strong enough to leave. Life will get better. Going no contact with you without warning because mommy was triggered is one of the most pathetic excuses I've ever encountered. I thought you'd be strong enough to cope alone is a total cop-out. It's like he thought you needing urgent medical attention was a weakness. I don't believe he gave you a second thought. He didn't even text. I'm glad you've seen him for the pathetic little man that he is. I'm only sorry it came at the very high cost of your baby and medical neglect. Sincere best wishes for your future. You deserve so much better in life. Thank goodness your family are supportive. Third update. My parents told him off when he first called and told him not to contact me again. He has since sent me lots of texts and voicemails. They alternate between reminding me of good memories, blaming me for what happened, being angry at me for not taking him back / responding, and apologizing. I feel bad dragging my parents in the first time, so I haven't told them about these messages. I haven't responded but have read every text and heard every voicemail. I can't bring myself to block him. He posted on social media saying he misses me and is waiting for me to come home. The post insinuates a long-distance relationship, and not that we aren't together. A week ago, a neighbor, this is my childhood home, recognized him waiting outside our home and called the police. He left before they came. It made me so anxious and afraid. I'm always worried that he'll be outside and peek through my window to make sure he's not. But I honestly do miss him and I'm still dealing with heartbreak. I loved him with all of my being, and it's taking time to come to terms with what transpired and how he treated me. It's brought up memories of other times he wasn't kind or considerate, and other instances where he put others, mostly his mom, before me. I realized I was brushing off a lot of red flags. His ex has reached out a few times. The kids had a visit with their dad and it was unusual for me not to be there. I didn't respond. His mom has never reached out to me, which makes me happy and angry. Personally, life has been tough. I see pregnant women and cry. I still have my pregnancy app and it updates me on the fruit size of the baby each week and little facts. I can't bring myself to delete it. I'm so anxious about the due date I had and how it's approaching. I have covered all the mirrors in my space. I hate seeing how flat my stomach is. I hate seeing my stomach at all. I feel like I failed to protect my baby. What if I hadn't tripped? It's been very hard for me to let go of this baby. I'm in therapy and my therapist is kind and patient. She has suggested that I think of ways I want to honor this child. She said it's healthy to not want to forget and move on, but I need to find a way to honor her and keep her memory alive that doesn't consume me. I definitely think she's right, and have been looking at tattoo ideas and jewelry I can have made. My dad has a lawyer ready to help me with the divorce process, but I haven't filed yet. My mom cares a lot and keeps trying to suggest old childhood friends, or her friends' sons for me to talk to and get my mind off things. But I don't think I could ever be in a relationship again. I feel numb and broken, and like a huge piece of me is missing. I have been working for the past 2 weeks and I'm planning on moving out. I feel like I'm burdening my parents with my problems. They fuss over me and are sometimes over the top sensitive. My brother was watching a movie where a character was giving birth and they made him turn it off even though I wasn't in the room. I don't want to disrupt their lives, and I feel so bad that they have to comfort me. I don't want to be hugged or constantly checked in on. I'm not trying to be ungrateful, I just feel like it all doesn't help. The random tight hug and "are you okay" are constant reminders of what happened. I'm trying to keep going. I'm trying to do my best, but I feel so empty and unhappy. Sometimes I wish I had bled to death in that bathroom. Sometimes I wish I had left the blood and left him before he had a chance to abandon me. So many regrets and scenarios play out in my mind. I often feel my mind heavy with dark thoughts and think I'd be better off gone. It's tough, but I'm going to try to keep moving. My heart just feels so heavy all the time. I know it's not much of an update, but this is where I am. Hun, you should never feel that way for some man. You are important. You matter. You will find someone who will treat you right. And if not, enjoy your life. Spend time with your family. But I know you will if that's what you want. That man was awful. Please move on. You're young, and don't let him manipulate you and your feelings. By shutting yourself and feel like the way you are feeling, you are letting him win. Take yourself back. Let him go live with his awful mom. He doesn't matter anymore. He is not worth your time. I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm glad you connected with a therapist, and it sounds like their counsel is both kind and helpful. I think that your parents love to be able to help you in any way they can. I don't think they see you as a burden at all. It also makes sense that their constant concern is reminding you of the situation. I know if you were my child, I would be glad to be able to be there for you. It might be possible to ask them to treat you more casually, maybe something to ask your therapist. I'm sorry that it feels hopeless right now. I truly believe that you can get through this and be happy again, even if it weighs off for now. It's a difficult time. That's really good advice. I will definitely try working my parents in with a therapist so we can have better communication. Thank you.